Welcome to our webinar again, everyone. Joining me in this presentation today are Rutesh Shah, founder of QMetry, who calls himself the evangelist of this platform, and Vishal Jhala, the solution architect and mastermind behind QMetry's product suite.
Thank you, Padmini. Good morning, everyone. What I want to really talk about is the roots in terms of this big transformation is happening in our industry. The way I kind of see it is there is a rise of the digital enterprise, and that has left our QA organization with some of these new terms that they are coming across and some of the existing terms that they have to live by. Test automation, DEVOPS, open source tools like Selenium and APM, quality assurance, quality engineering, IoT, continuous delivery, continuous integration. There are many other terms that they come across on a daily basis that they have to deal with that were not part of their dictionary maybe about a year or 2 years ago. And that kind of leaves the QA organizations and their heads thinking, what do I do? How do I kind of support these specific new needs that are coming up? Why do I need to change? By changing, what value can I add to our organization? And when do I need to change? Is this the right time? I actually ended up talking to an analyst who gave me this interesting quote from the CEO of Netflix. And this kind of reflects a good new digital enterprise structure and thinking. The CEO of Netflix said that we learn best by getting in the market and then learning, even if we are less than perfect. Now, this statement is actually very conflicting to the mission of the QA team. QA team will never approve or sign off in traditional QA organization a release to go to production if it was less than perfect. But he meant that it's okay to go not as feature-rich and as feature-complete product to production as you would have planned. It's okay to put a product and see how users use it and then learn from that experience and very quickly revert back with the solutions. This is the element of the new digital enterprise and expectation of a new digital enterprise. So let's talk about few of the characteristics of this digital enterprise. Digital enterprise today is expecting a very fast release cycle. The functionality is not going to be complete, it's going to be incremental. It has to be a lot more customer driven. It should also be frequent change management driven. It is business needs is going to be very agile. It's going to be driven by the needs of agility. It's also going to be multi-channel applications. It's going to be continuously evolving. The expectation from processes is going to be a lot more automation. And last but not the least, there is going to be the expectation that we learn from the data, the analytics, the information that we collect rather than acting in silos. So if these are the characteristics of the new digital enterprise, the big question is the how part for the QA organization. How do you enable QA organization and DevOps organization for a digital enterprise? It's actually ongoing transformation is a three-dimensional transformation. The number one dimension is actually people and culture. Second dimension is processes and practices that are being adopted in your organization. And the third one is tools and technology. Now, interestingly, when I kind of see that from the perspective of a development organization and operation organization, I see two distinct views at these three dimensions. Development organization moves too fast and release applications very quickly to production. They want to innovate. They want to adopt open source tools. They want to manage the change and put something in front of customer very quickly. Whereas operations organization today, the way they are working is actually hardwired to do things very differently. They want to maintain quality. They want less changes. They want to follow some processes like ITIL, MBK, or waterfall, where they have everything under control. So that's the real environment that we are facing today. And interestingly, the way I see it is the QA organization is right in the middle. They are actually a big change agent in terms of making these two organizations come on the same platform and help them to cross that chasm. So because the QA team is right in the middle of this change, this transformation that is happening, there is a limelight on the quality engineering team or the quality analysis team that is engaged in QA process in every enterprises. So what are the DNA structure of the new quality engineering organization as well as the tools and technologies that they're going to be adopting overall? The way I see it is they need to be getting versed with open and integratable platform along with existing tools. They have to be easy to learn. And when I say easy to learn, it should not take more than a couple of hours for an engineer to learn the tools. Testing team might develop a set of automated scripts that the development team will leverage, or development team will develop, the testing team will leverage, and operations team will basically piggyback on the same infrastructure. You can see that this kind of change will bring a lot of efficiency in digital enterprises, and that's the reason that they're pushing this overall. The environment has to be a lot more collaborative. The tools also should be possibly leveraging technology and doing automated documentation for the test. Tools have to be collecting a lot of data on which they can be used later on to do some sort of analytics for various decision making. I also predict that the tools will bring some sort of AI to life in testing, and naturally all the systems are becoming cloud enabled. They have to be virtual, and cloud infrastructure support has to be built into those tools. So let's talk a little bit about what is this shift left. It's actually a mindset. Instead of waiting for development to complete all the development effort before you start testing, the expectation is as the development is developing it, you start putting your testing assets together and hopefully automated testing assets together. So if I take a traditional testing organization and effort, you can see here that 50 to 60% of the effort is in UI testing, 10 to 40% of the effort in functional testing, and about 10% of the effort happens in unit testing. And that's how your efforts look like. It's actually backloaded between the testing team and the support team before you go to production, right? So that's a traditional testing effort. What we mean by shifting left is actually this effort is going to be distributed in a very different curve. You're going to be doing a lot more effort, 50 to 60% of the effort in unit testing, 10 to 40% of the effort, maybe even more in some organizations that are more matured, in doing automation, and then only 10% in final UI testing. So what are we really shifting left? Naturally, I talked about shifting the testing activity both in terms of the definition and automation left, coding based on the customer feedback. You also want to allocate the resources early in the life cycle as one team overall. You also want to create, in terms of shifting left, the deployment environment way sooner, and the same thing stands true for the overall real environment and infrastructure. So how do we shift left? Involving testing team early in the life cycle. I kind of see that test engineers and development, it will be just one entity. The second change is performing frequent defect status reporting. Understanding the real client requirement is going to be mandatory going forward. Conducting a brief, as I kind of said, a brief stand-up meeting, create a central repository. You would integrate tools so that you can collect a lot of intelligent information. And last but not the least, the emphasis is on ensuring continuous feedback from customers and the use of your product. We already know that traditional ALM tools have requirements management tool, they have test and quality management tool capabilities or features available, and they have reporting and issue defect capabilities available. What they don't have is the change and configuration management, analytics reporting, ready-made quality metrics, and being able to do a decision making through that process. What they don't have is task and resource management capabilities. What they don't have, build and release management capability, and what they don't have is agile process management capabilities, where you can actually take the variant of what is happening in the process when you're continuously evolving to manage the backlogs effectively. And the expectation is not to do these things manually. All these new capabilities have to be adopted by a new digital enterprise QE organizations, but also they have to look at automating most of this, right? So ALM has evolved, but the question is, have you evolved?
So my focus is going to be around what kind of tools and technologies should we select so that we succeed in transforming our organization to a digital enterprise. If you were to select a whole platform, what kind of platform should it be that would easily help you shift left and go agile in a very limited time and also deliver you the value and the benefits that we are looking for? So first of all, you would need some sort of test management system which links various aspects of your development process. A platform like this should also easily integrate with automation and CI, because as we are getting agile and as we are shifting left, a lot of the heavy loading is going to be done by automation. Another thing that I would look while selecting a platform is how open it is and how hackable it is in terms of API or in terms of integrating with known or unknown systems. Then finally, the real value of any platform is delivered through analytics, metrics, and reporting system. So one of the value propositions that is very critical to me, it would be a modularity. And so as you see it in this example here, a test artifact has been divided into smaller sets of manageable components. It's just like the way the development teams code their functionality, they make these reusable components which continue to get used. Similarly, does your tool allow you to modularize the test artifacts in smaller components like test scenarios, action steps, and step units? The other trait we would look for while selecting a tool or a technology is the reusability. And clearly there are so many benefits of reusability. First of all, your test authoring time reduces. Of course, your maintenance time also reduces because you make a change at one place and that change would be reflected anywhere and everywhere that those test artifacts are being reused, right? So is your tool or the technology that you have or you're planning to select, is it flexible enough, and does it give you a path from manual to automation, from QA to QE? So the other thing I would look at it is the quality metrics and reports. And this is very critical because this is where the final value comes from. We might have done a lot of work, but if we cannot highlight the progress, or if there are not enough matrices that tell us where the problem is and what to do next, that clearly becomes a challenge, right? This used to be something which was futuristic just a few years back, but actionable intelligence and predictive analytics is a reality today. Integration, like we said, like our team members, our teams cannot exist in isolation and they cannot work without collaborating. It's the same case with tools. If our tools are not open enough, they don't support, REST compliance, then most likely, they are not going to succeed, and the information they have, it would be isolated, and most of the people won't be able to use it. So now let's look at QMetry as a platform and how does it serve all these various aspects of value propositions and quality traits we discussed about. So the first one is QMetry Test Manager. It is a very comprehensive test management tool which lets you either link or create user stories, all sorts of test artifacts, test execution results, and also link the defects and provides a complete traceability for all these artifacts. It has capability to talk to various test harness environments and has the ability to maintain test data as well. QMetry Automation Studio, which is another really important tool, which kind of lets you create automation suites on your desktops through a very powerful IDE, and it has been designed specifically for automation and CI integration. Now, all of those functionalities we talked about, they are totally hackable and open through an open platform that we have created, and it is all accessible through Open API. Then finally comes the QMetry Wisdom, which is the analytics platform, which does actionable intelligence, predictive analytics, and big data analytics as well, and also is going to provide value in terms of machine learning going forward.